compatriots today. It is February 24th. And today, again, the focus of our attention will mainly be on an important international event. Basically, these days, not only our attention, but also the attention of the whole world is focused on Europe, Ukraine, America, the United States. I have stated this more than once. It's crucial to understand the upcoming events. We focus on significant matters. Regarding Armenia, from February 24 to 25, Armenia's Foreign Minister Eduard Aivazyan will visit Switzerland. The French ambassador made an important statement about Armenian-French defense cooperation. That's all we're talking about, and it was an important event for everyone around Armenia at this point. Let's start with the fact that from February 24 to 25, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Armenia, Eduard Aivazyan, will be in Switzerland on a working visit to Armenia. I can also add that the third French ambassador to Armenia made a very important statement, and it concerned the cooperation between the Armenian and French defense sectors. He noted that cooperation with Armenia in this area continues. The goals have not changed, and the main goal is to increase Armenia's defense capability. Adding to this statement, the security of Armenia is indeed very important in the sense that we are now seeing the changes taking place in the world, the statements being made from Europe. And at this moment, the statement by the French ambassador to Armenia is really extremely important for us, in that nothing has changed in French policy towards Armenia, in European policy. Basically, this could be an interesting development, or it was a statement about Armenia. I'll repeat that there has been very little news about Armenia in the past few days. This is also somewhat logical because the whole world has turned upside down, and we don't see any important foreign policy developments from Armenia at the moment. Also logical, as I said. And now the whole world is focused on what is happening around Ukraine. By the way, today is the 3rd anniversary of Ukraine. It is the 3rd anniversary of the war, and there are various media outlets, international media outlets, which are talking about the fact that today Russian President Vladimir Putin can declare victory. But how can he declare victory? If the war is still going on, when the military operations have not ended, how can such a statement be made? To be honest, I can't say. There can be a statement that the main goals have been completed, the main goals have been achieved, etc., etc., but that the war is over. As various reputable media outlets report, allegedly based on information received from a special service, I don't think so. They won't be able to fully declare that the war has ended with their victory, as we don't see the end of the war. Military operations, I repeat, are still ongoing. Meanwhile, others have already visited Kiev today, including Antonio Guterres and Ursula von der Leyen, to announce clear support from the European Union. Besides them, it's very important. Volodymyr Zelensky held a press conference, and indeed, he made such an interesting statement that clearly indicates that and he's not going to give up on me, quite the opposite. They are trying to take a very correct position on relations with the United States of America so that Ukraine does not get caught up in this war. In particular, he said the following: Ukraine did not receive $350 billion from the United States, as Trump claims, but receive $100 billion in aid. Among others, the Pentagon also denied that Ukraine was provided with $350 billion in weapons and ammunition, as Donald Trump and his successors claimed. The channel says that he agreed with Biden that most of this aid would be given as a grant and not as a debt, and Ukraine refuses to consider that it owes the United States $350 billion, or $500 billion, that is, also with interest. And in this regard, Ukraine is negotiating with the United States of America, and there is progress, when he clearly said that with all due respect to our allies, Ukraine does not accept that Ukraine owes NATO $500 billion, and will not leave such a debt on the shoulders of future generations, on the shoulders of future generations of Ukraine. He also said that I will never sign such a document, which is long. Our generations will pay. That is, for such a debt, there can be no talk of such a debt at all. He also said that Trump is not eternal, and they need peace. This is a very interesting and important point, and a very interesting and important statement by Zelensky, that Trump is not eternal. In other words, we should not be disappointed. We should endure, and in all likelihood, Zelensky will take the direction that Ukraine. We also need to think, at least we need to consider the direction that we should be able to endure for another 4 years if such a necessity arises. Although Ukraine's foreign minister is also reporting that they have decided to end this war this year, meaning that in his plans there is a goal for this war to conclude by 2025. Naturally, this is if Russia also wishes for that. And what is important is Zelensky's words. The document signed with strategic allies should contain clear security guarantees. This concerns those 500 billion worth of rare metals. And the generation says that in that document there was no actual security guarantee. Just words on words. And Ukraine does not need guarantees on words. That is why the document should include those security guarantees. And it would be good if such speculations, such discussions around that document were avoided. There shouldn't be any negative reactions, and a new document like this is going to be signed again. Literally not bringing such a hostage situation. But the main idea is that if such a document is signed, it must include clear security guarantees from the United States. Overall, the negative reactions should end regarding this document. He also mentioned that, at this moment, military assistance to Ukraine from the United States has not been halted. In general, he said there is a lot of uncertainty about the future of that military aid, etc., etc. And most importantly, he said that he is not offended by Trump's statement that he is supposedly a dictator. This is also a very important statement. I think that you should give it to a fairly wise leader. And he says that you can be offended by such a statement. If you really, I am a dictator. That is, he clearly says that I am not a dictator, and also said that when martial law ends in Ukraine, then presidential elections will definitely take place. As for the frozen Russian assets, Zelensky says that these funds belong to Ukraine and no one else, and these funds should be spent only on Ukraine. He also talked about how much weapons have been produced in Ukraine by the year 2024. There will be approximately about 2.5 million free drones, more than 100,000 long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, and many other military equipment, and their number will only grow. As for the possible decoupling of sterling, he said that Poland and Germany are mainly selling it to Ukraine. And Ukraine is benefiting from those systems in exchange for the funds paid. I also mentioned Germany's and Armenia's assistance, and there was a statement that even if they completely disconnect and Elon Musk makes such a decision, although he himself denies having such intentions, nevertheless, the Ukrainian side says that we are also considering other solutions if they try to disconnect. Now let's move on to Donald Trump's statement. Justice often changes, and there's nothing surprising about that. We just need to discuss it. We agreed that such statements can be very controversial, but we need to discuss it. By the way, independence is also growing among Republicans. Donald Trump's various statements and actions are noteworthy, and he made an interesting statement yesterday. There is a small chance this week to bring this war to an end. In other words, Trump might also be hinting that today there could perhaps be an announcement about the end of this war or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. He also reiterated that the United States should obtain those rare metals from Ukraine and reminded us about Europe. Turkey will get back its investment in Ukraine, but the US won't, and its actions aim to recover its funds or get compensation. That's mainly what I wanted to say about Ukraine. But it's also important to mention that Macron had 3 phone conversations. He discussed with Erdogan, focusing on Ukraine, emphasizing cooperation as allies. In this new situation, leaving Trump's policies, Erdogan said Turkey could be a good platform for peace talks. They mainly discussed the issue of Ukraine with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and as far as I understand from that message, they emphasized the importance of coordinating their cooperation as allies. In this new situation, under new conditions, considering the need to move beyond Trump's policies, Erdogan mentioned that Turkey could be a good platform for peace negotiations. Turkey has tried twice, and it has gone well, and so on. And what is also important is that Erdogan has reminded that he will not allow the Arab people to be displaced from Gaza, and the overall message becomes clear that Erdogan is not entirely pleased with the current political situation. The tensions and contradictions that exist between France and Turkey, I believe, were also part of this phone conversation. During this time, common interests are also emerging regarding both Ukraine and Gaza, and these shared interests will likely compel the parties to strengthen their ties more frequently, which I don't think is a bad thing, because Turkey's stance on both Ukraine and Gaza is quite interesting and favorable, from which we can also benefit. It's not bad either. There are efforts to strengthen relations between France and Turkey, but there is also information that today the Russian foreign minister has visited Turkey for various negotiations. I believe they will discuss issues related to the South Caucasus there as well, and it is possible that a bilateral agreement will be reached with Lavrov. Let's see what statements will be made, and we will definitely address this issue in our next broadcasts. I find it important to mention that the Bundestag elections took place in Germany. And in fact, Scholz is facing defeat in those elections. The Christian Democratic Union, led by Mertz, is winning. Macron wholeheartedly congratulated Mertz and said that he is more determined to accomplish great success and prosperity together with Germany. It's clear what hint Macron is making. He undoubtedly has big plans for France to implement together with Germany, both regarding European security and the Russian war, as well as concerning the South Caucasus. And I think that overall, the victory of honey is not bad, especially since there have been some interesting statements recently regarding the Russian-Ukrainian war. So, with those forces, as far as I understand, and based on the information I have, it will also be very easy for Macron to work with Germany and other European countries and to lead. He really has the opportunity to become the Chancellor of Germany now, as well as to become one of the important leaders in Europe. That's all for now, dear compatriots. I want to remind you again about the likes. Thank you so much for all the likes. For those who haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. Write your thoughts in the comments. It's always interesting to hear your opinions and see your supportive emojis. We are extremely grateful for all of that. Wishing you all success, and we'll meet again.